right, a brand new week. It is a Monday, and that is the 29th day into the month of April. You're most welcome from wherever you're watching us this early morning. It's a great pleasure starting off your day right here on Western Television. It's always also good to start off your day and week from a point of view where you are informed, and that is always a reason as to why you must be part of the Kokoliriko live on Western Television each and every Mondays to Fridays, right from the hour of that is 7 o'clock until the hour of that is 9 o'clock. We are just a minute that is after 7 o'clock, and that must also really tell you that the time is up. If you are still on your bed, it is, as always said, it is the early bird that catches the flight. In case you are just home, maybe still on your bed wondering of where to go next, my brother, my sister, you better move out to that bed and go to maybe your places of hustle, such that also really you could also really at the end of the day get something small for yourselves, for your families, for your loved ones. Other than that, it could be also really very, very bad. And if I want to welcome you from the weekend, and I know it must have been a busy one, and I know for those sports lovers, there must be a lot of excitement and anxiety, more so for those who support different teams. For those who support maybe the local teams on the Kokoliriko Football Club, I know there's excitement among the fans because they did go on to beat, that is the Sugarcane Growers, that's Lugazi FC, and we also did see Arsenal and Manchester City also really as well winning. But for Liverpool, they were crying over the weekend. The weekend wasn't good for them, and together with Chelsea, solely there. But I will be giving you more of those details in the second hour of the show, as we want to start off with the discussions with what is happening at the national scene. And remember, we are already here to give you what is happening on the papers, and that is the reason as to why you must be part of the show. And now to begin off the discussions with what is happening elsewhere in Luero, where daughters connived to beat up their 89-year-old mother to death over that is a sale of land, which is really quite ironic, and that is where we want to begin off our discussions with. And residents and authorities at Bali village in Luero district are yet to come to terms with what they also saw as shocking news after two siblings who reportedly beat up their 89-year-old mother to death over land sale dispute in there. And this is something I must say, it was quite ironic. We didn't expect this to happen, but anyways, it happened. But really, these are things that we need to condemn, because if at all the mother is selling this land, why can't you really let go of the land? Maybe why can't you solicit money among yourselves to buy your own piece of land? That is also a reason as to why people need to be very, very much maybe informed, because sometimes you take up the law in your hands. Now you have killed your mother, you have committed murder. Secondly, you on the run. These are things that we are talking about over in land, yet land is something that you can also really maybe work hard and do and also achieve. That is the reason as to why really people need to very, very much desist from tendencies of taking the laws into their hands, which is really quite sad. An incident report suggests that the siblings with two grandchildren as accomplices in the April 26th Act also really committed that sin there. And while the court reportedly rushed that is victim Yoania Naluja to clinic where she was pronounced dead upon arrival, and this is according to information from police who are holding the suspects now. And these are things that we are talking about. People need not to take the laws into their hands. And according to him, authorities have since transferred the body that's to City Mortuary in Kampala, that is for the autopsy test in there. And these are things that we want to ask people to condemn, and also we want people to move away from issues of taking land, maybe land sale in their hands. These are things that also really people need to also really talk about very, very much, because sometimes people commit such sins because they really know how difficult it is to stay without a piece of land. And really, if you're renting, definitely these are things that people are always also raise concern over. And as a mother, you want to sell off this piece of land. Where are the children going to go? These are things also we need to also put in consideration, because usually we do understand that also when people are selling these lands, there's a reason for them. And really, what reason is it? Could it be that these daughters were not there when this mother needed their help? These are things that also we need to ask ourselves, because really for somebody out there to come out and just want to sell land, that is quite absurd and quite uncalled for. And really where it leads to is really where the results are devastating, because these are things that we need to talk about, or really committing murder over sale of land. Really, this is quite ironic. I really do not want to talk about it, but really this is what happened. In the meantime, Bale Village Local Council Secretary for Defense Edward Senyonga Tumukunde revealed to journalists that the four suspects had earlier reported that's the case, where they said the old woman had sold a plot of land without consulting them. But really, if the land belongs to this old woman, why would you want to be consulted? These are things that sorry we need to ask ourselves, because the land belongs to the old woman, and she has the entire rights to also sell this land. And that is why we need to tell people that let them desist from tendencies of wanting to take the laws into their hands, which is really not called for. It is quite bad, and this is also really a reason as to why people need to also really desist from tendencies of taking the laws into their hands. And remember, several campaigns have been going on, and recently we did see Uganda Human Rights Commission together with Western Regional Civil Society Network and other organizations coming up to champion issues of also really talking to the people about also really what we call mob action, because this is a result of mob action already, because they already know, and we have also gotten to understand that there's a difference between what people call mob justice. It is actually what we term as mob action, because there's really no justice by the mob. Justice is rather provided by the courts of law, but the rather true statement is mob action, which is really quite on the run, where we are seeing a number of people being killed. The youths are today being killed as thieves over small or minor properties, which is really also really a big challenge that needs to be addressed as a result of this mob action that we're talking about, because all these things continue to portray a bad image and the lawlessness in our society, because if we continue to take the laws into their hands, that would also really be very, very bad. And this is where I want to ask people to desist from tendencies of taking the laws in their hands. And really, if you to look at the land which is really said to have been really sold, the land-related dispute contributes to more than 80% of the cases. That is in the office of the resident district commissioner in Luero district. And according to authorities, the district, and this is the land sale cases, also usually involve relatives that fail to, that is amicably resolve wrangles, including cases of suspect land grabbing and illegal land-related transactions. And this is according to information we are receiving from the RDC in that district there, where the land cases and land conflicts are said to be topping cases that really come to his office. And these are things that also really we need to desist from. And we want to say, if at all maybe somebody wants to sell land, they need to inform all the stakeholders, so that also we do not also see people taking the laws in their hands, as we have reported on the past morning. This is quite absurd, and this is also really quite uncalled for. We need to also really avoid that, and these are things that also really, if at all we abide by, that would also really be quite well. And that is also a reason as to why I want to now urge everybody, because we could be talking of what is happening in Luero, but the same things could be happening in our vicinities, for instance, in Western Sub-region, in the different local governments. And this is where the RDC's office are always overwhelmed by cases of land wrangles. Because recently I was in the RDC's office, that is Mr. Ham, the deputy. I've also gotten to notice that people come to report the cases in that is the case. Students shot dead intervening in robbery. This is also another case that we are seeing on this morning, a quite sad one, that is from dead by unidentified, that's gunmen riding a motorcycle. And this is also really something we are saying, really it is quite absurd. And Patrick Olinga, believed to be in his early 20s, was killed, that is along Engunyu Road in Camp Swahili, where he attempted to foil a robbery by unidentified persons riding a motorcycle. And this is also something we must say people need to desist from, because really we may want to sort of maybe attack the things, but these people are armed, and you're not armed. That is already where we need to be vigilant. We need to be cautious of our security, because these people sometimes they come and they want to escape, and there are sometimes also people whom we know, and definitely once they get to realize that you know them, then definitely they will also want to kill you. And that is why we need to work with security in case of any of these activities that maybe we want to do that involves these unscrupulous people. We must also really ensure that we work together, that is with the security agencies. For instance, Uganda Police, the EPDF is there, and we only need to also just call them so that they can also really maybe support you in these activities, such that these people who are maybe on motorcycles can also really be arrested. And according to, that is SP Edinson Obukulem, the acting Easter, that is Chioga Police Function, the assailants fled with the big containing, that is a bag containing a specified amount of money belonging that to a local businessman. The deceased also tried to help them, and that's also something we are seeing on the past this morning. And Olingo was a student of, that is a pharmaceutical college, that's a sorority. He shot at him, and that's already something we want to see maybe happening, because the issues of this gun misuse on the members of the public has always been there. Recently we did see our businessman that's also really in Arua here was attacked and robbed the amount of money, expected that to be at around 50 million, and this is already something we did see recently, where his son was already shot. And these are things that we going to talk about, because issues of this gun misuse continue to happen. And this is none other than Mr. Abirigasan, who was already gunned, also when his son was already gunned, and a specified amount of unspecified amount of money was already also taken in there. And the assailants also and the members of the community also tried that is to pursue their silence, and that is also really until they disappeared and hid somewhere and disappeared with that money there. But really we want to say people need to be vigilant. People also need to be cautious when they are maybe carrying out these huge amounts of money, because it is not really realistic for you to also really move in with these huge amounts of money, maybe in a bag or maybe in a place where you think people may not also be knowing that you have money there. But really, I must tell you, issues of money, you cannot really hide them. That is why, if at all you are supposed to be carrying these huge amounts of money, you better call the bank agencies, let the banks come and maybe take this money and also maybe put them in bank, because it's not really, maybe, I don't see it also really very well for people to be moving with these huge amounts of money, and that is also really where it attracts thieves. And when such things happen, definitely we may not also really blame anybody. We may blame you because it is not realistic for you to keep worth 50 millions in a bag, maybe in your house, and that is also really, maybe at your shop, because at any time these thieves may attack. And today we are talking about these illegal guns that continue to enter the country due to our porous border points, and this is also really what we are saying. People need to be very, very much vigilant. They need to be cautious, because what is happening in Soroti recently, we did see it happening in Arua City, and we have seen it happening in other places where we have seen it also not happening in many of the places I cannot be able to mention, but I must remind you that this is a realistic move. It happens in each and every local government that we also can't be able to mention, and that is why people need to desist from tendencies of carrying these huge amounts of money in bags, maybe also in cash. And that is also really where people need to also really embrace what we call digital money transfers. And for instance, maybe putting the money in banks, putting the money in mobile money, and that is also really where it could be able to also really sit with that people know also avoid tendencies of being robbed. And remember, recently, government of Uganda did come up with a new proposal. That's where Bank of Uganda did also really say that where people will be depositing, and when you drawing money worth 1 million, they will be required to carry it out with they will be required to move on. That's with their national identity cards, such that also really they are identified. This is also really to avoid maybe theft, and also really cases maybe where people also taking advantage of others via mobile money, and also really also calling them. And that is also really where Bank of Uganda is coming up with that new directive, where each and every amount that is above 1 million, depending on withdrawal or also maybe sending, you will be required, that is to carry on, that's your national ID, and that is also really to avoid people from being taken advantage of. And that is also really something I must remind you of, and we must also really take advantage of it, so that also really we cannot be able to be conned, because thieves can take advantage of each and everybody, and every day we are at least reporting a case of somebody being conned. And that is also really something where the new directive, I believe, will do very much in terms of addressing that challenge. And also we need to take up that decision seriously, because this has also drawn mixed reactions from members of the public. Others have supported the move, and others are saying, no, we cannot also really embrace that, because sometimes our lines were bought for us by other people and we don't have national IDs. And also really I want to say, as we also witnessing, because most of the national IDs are going to be expiring. And recently we did see announcements where people are going to be working as agents. That is also in renewing these IDs, and that is why maybe if you don't have now, definitely in the next time you need to also really make sure that you get for yourself one that would also really be quite well, because most of the IDs I believe are expiring before the year 2026. And that is also a reason as to why we need to also ensure that we take advantage of what is happening. And police have called down off the crime scene, and the victim's body was transported. That's mortuary for postmortem, and police have appealed for more information, leading to the arrest of their assailants. And that's also something where we want to see people now also really and be able to talk about, because we want to see maybe people also really being, maybe those who are killed also really being able to also really be addressed there. And that is also a reason as to why we need to work together with security, in case you have any information that is also really that can lead to the arrest of these assailants. That will be very well good and for you. And that's also really something we want to say we need to also really work towards, we need to embrace. Other than that, it would also really be quite well for us to work with security. And remember, we are stakeholders to ensure that our country and our vicinities are very safe. If you really have information of maybe somebody who is bad, whom you suspect is bad, it is upon you to also really inform the LCs, and the LCs also have the mandate that is to inform police, so that also these people are investigated, because some of these people really you can also tell that they are bad people, because somebody who is sleeping during daytime and at night is going maybe to a place you don't know, and this person is not a DJ, maybe this person is not maybe from that category of people who work at night, and you really see them also really living maybe a luxurious life, and these are the people whom we can suspect as thieves. And that's also really a reason as to why you could also really report them to police, so that also really police can also really carry out its investigation. Then let's move away from that story and moving on. Remember, this coming month is also really where we are going to be witnessing, that is another big event, that is also really where journalists also really will be commemorating that day. and that is also really where now preparations are underway in most of the districts and also in most of the local governments. And in Chigezi sub-region, police commends that is the journalists in that area for sensitizing community, and that's also something we are seeing on the past morning. And remember hours, we shall be having them on that day here to also discuss more, and we want to see to that how best can journalists also work in transforming society, because journalists hold a lot of power. I do understand it's solely wanting to that sensitize the community, and that is solely why police of Chigezi sub-region is coming up with that drive to solely uphold and also appreciate the journalists in their sensitization bit there. And that's also something where we also want to talk about. The Chigezi sub-region police has commended members of the press and also the 4th L, known as the 4th Estate, for its role as in sensitizing and mobilizing the community despite the challenges of accessing information. And that's also something that we want to talk about. And Mr. Eli Mate, the Chigezi police spokesperson, has said the press has aided the police and other stakeholders through community policing programs that mobilize and sensitize the public against crime, contributing to a safer society. And that is already something where Mr. Mate also really appreciated the journalists for. And Mr. Mate was addressing the media on Friday ahead of that is the World Freedom Day, which is slated to take place on May 3rd. And also already this day will be observed under the theme, "The Press for Planet Journalism in Face of Environmental Crisis," with the Chigezi function at the Agaba Center, that's in Central Division of Kabale Municipality. And this is already where we shall be able to follow on that day, because we want to see maybe how journalists can also really uphold their rights, because journalists sometimes have a lot of rights that cannot be violated, and that is also really why the day is actually commemorated. It's World Press Freedom Day is actually commemorated every 3rd of May, and this year also we look forward to having journalists on set here, and that is also really where we want to discuss with them a lot of issues, and we shall be able to solely call them here on the show, and we discuss how best maybe media freedom can be respected. And Mr. Mate also stressed the crucial role that's of this press in society, particularly in promoting that is peace and harmony among the members of society. And that is already something we want to say maybe each and every journalist out there needs to respect, because if you really do something bad, you may mislead people, and which is really quite unfortunate. And this is also really a clear manifesto where we did see some of the atrocities committed, where media was actually blamed. If you look at the 1990s, the Rwanda genocide, we also really blamed media a lot, because some of the papers and some of the TV stations, some of the radios also really did rain. That is a lot of information that was also really stamped to be that is sectarian, which actually led to a number of people being killed in there. And that is really something we want to say people need to avoid. We need to work that is towards peace, and also talk about harmony, because we must also ensure we peacefully coexist. Because if we do not coexist, that is also really where we could also be able to have a lot of challenges, which could also really come with its own negative repercussions, and which at the end of the day may tear that society apart, which would also really mean the peace that we have in the society cannot be able to be respected. And that is also a reason as to why we need to also really always uphold the peace that we have in the country. And that is already where I want to remind each and everybody, as we also really look forward to these celebrations, but really also where media freedom needs to be respected, is already where stakeholders really need to put emphasis on, because we are talking about media freedom, but sometimes we have seen some of the security agencies, I will not be able to pinpoint, but we have seen them also harassing journalists, which is really against their rights, because the media is already something that under access to information, this is also something that needs to be respected, because it is a human right. Access to information is a human right, which must be respected at all time, and rather also be, instead of also being violated there, because beating a journalist is already a violation that is of human rights. And that's already maybe access to information. And John Nyamanda, the chairperson that is of the organizing committee for the World Press Freedom Day celebration, remarked that the Kabale Media Fraternity sees the importance of celebrating World Press Freedom Day as a way of unity that is also really and the bond in there. That is already something we look forward to having at celebrations. And he added that unity fosters prosperity and cooperation, and the celebration will serve as a tool that's to bring all journalists of Chigezi sub-region together. And the essence of the event is to create bonds among them that will also foster the growth of their association, and that is also something we will also really look forward to. And Esther Ebazibwe, the chairperson of the Kabale Media Practitioners Association, emphasized that soon to be launched, association will include that not all for journalists, but also everyone practicing journalism, media, and communication. And that is also really where it will not also limit itself, that is to practicing journalists, but really each and everybody who is in line with the communication sector also really will be catered for in that celebration there. And she said that it will guide us practitioners also towards professional practice and focus on the weaknesses so as to improve on the career. And that's also something we also look forward. And furthermore, it will promote research on societal issues, and also that is something we look forward to having, because we need to see to that our society is may be respected and treasured, because as media practitioners, you are there to serve masses. And who are the masses? This is the society, and that is only where you need to also talk about issues that happen to you, maybe within your societies. And as usual, in our second hour, we are going to be talking about issues that have been happening in Western Sub-region right from Friday, and that is the reason as to why you need to be maybe waiting for us, because we are going to be doing that with you up the hour of that's 9 o'clock. And really, keynote speakers will include that's Ibrahim Semujunganda, the member of parliament that's for Kira Municipality, as well as Robert Semper, the executive director of Human Rights Network for Journalists, regional ministers, and members of parliament who are also really expected to be part of that event there. Over the years, police has worked closely with the media, but we have also really sometimes seen them violating the rights of the media, where we have seen some of the police officers harassing and torturing journalists, which is really quite unfortunate. And so should be noted that the World Press Freedom Day is celebrated worldwide, and it is not only an event that's going to be maybe commemorated by Uganda, but rather each and every part of the world is actually going to be also celebrating that. Andrew Agaba, manager, that's the voice of Chigezi, who is also the advisor of the organizing committee, has stressed that they have invited that Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, as the chief guest, and that is only one thing I must say. It is very well, and that invitation is quite good, because recently we did see in the appointments that of the assistant RCCs, most of the journalists at big, we did see a number of our colleagues also in the media fraternity being appointed as also the assistant RCCs there, but we welcome them, and we also expect them to work towards our ideas and our issues and our challenges. We expect them now to address, because they are going to act as our mouthpiece, because definitely they do understand our issues, and they best know what maybe we have been going through, and that is really why we are relying on them to also really address our challenges. And that is really something we also look forward to, and we shall be able to also really look into that. As we move away from that, let's now look at what is happening in relation to the merger of agencies, where cabinet is set to review that's MP's rejection of that is the agencies of merger. And remember, recently some of the agencies also already failed to merge. That is also really where we did see UNRA also really failing to go under Ministry of Works and Transport, not forgetting also really NFA that was supposed to go under Ministry of Environment and Water, which did not also really help, maybe yield the fruits. And that is already where cabinet will be sitting, that is on Monday, which is today, and will be able to review controversial rejection of some agencies and merger, and consider also retabling them before Parliament. And that's really something we are going to be looking forward into that. And remember, later this week, quoted that is controversy, voting that is to keep the Uganda National Roads Authority independence for Ministry of Works and Transport, under which the government mooted for its belonging. And the decision was also really tingled. That's also the allegation of bribery of MPs to keep that is UNRA independent, followed that is of the National Information Technology Authority, NITA Uganda also being also kept away. That's from undergoing that's Ministry of ICT, and we also did see so many of these agencies that failed to be merged. And but also the Minister for Information, that's the National Guidance, Dr. Chris Bariomusi, says cabinet will on Monday discuss and review reasons for the Parliament's rejection and resolution of that is already these agencies to be merged in there. That's also something we shall be able to follow, and also and I will be able to inform you what comes out of cabinet in there. And the minister said cabinet will bring back the rejected agencies because executive hopes also to reduce the expenditures. And Bariomusi, however, rubbish claims that some members also of parliament have been bribed, are saying that the rejection was just due to the differences in perception, and also something we are yet going to be following up on. Could it be that maybe there was a case of bribery? Definitely, I do not know, but maybe you as a viewer could share your opinions with us, maybe of what could have happened, and I will also really definitely go through that. Bariomusi, however, rubbish claims are saying that also they did not maybe take bribes, and that is as some people had said, and we are yet following up on that. And in a move that is to reduce cost duplication, that's of work, but also to reduce the cost of maintaining, cabinet passed a resolution that's to rationalize some of the government agencies, entities, and also departments in Tumara districts, while others were also really to be merged in there. That is also something maybe if you have maybe something to say of, you can also really drop your comment in there. As the viewer, you could tell us why these agencies need to be merged or why they need not to be merged. Definitely, I will be able to go through that, and that is that also really depends on you, on what you think, because if you feel some of these agencies need to be merged, definitely you can also really share your opinions with us. Maybe which agency do you think and do you feel needed to be merged? Very importantly, because we also need to see that taxpayers' money is also really being spared there, because sometimes we see these agencies performing similar tasks but under different authorities, and where we also see government also really extending a lot of resources for them. That could also really be a reason as to why you need to also really maybe share your opinions with us, and that is also really something I will be able to go through it in the later hour of the show. And that is also something I want to remind you of as we continue with the show. Now let's look at some of the stories happening on the past morning, looking at some of the stories where we are saying Uganda is making strides, that's in combating maternal mortality deaths despite the challenges. And that is also something maybe we want to see, because at least we have been talking about people and children dying, and this is also as a result of maybe issues that could be happening within your societies. But really, as we are now being told that Uganda is making strides, but then there are so many challenges. How can we ensure that we also really end the mortality deaths? That's also something that you could also be able to share your ideas and share your opinions with us as the viewer, and I will be able to go through that in the second hour of the show. And that's also something we are looking at this morning, as experts that's from World Health Organization have revealed a significant reduction that is in maternal mortality rates. And Dr. Olive Sentumwe, a family and also the population advisor from the World Health Organization, reported a drop that is from also 16 maternal deaths per day in 2016 to that's all to 8 currently in 2024. And that's already maybe a big achievement where we must also commend the government and other agencies for, because if you look at what happened in 2016, where we were told at least 16 mothers were dying on daily, and today we are talking about 8, that is also a clear improvement. And that's also something where we want to see that at least none dies, that is per day, because at least they have reduced to 8, and we want to see the numbers also dropping, that is to 0, and that means that the health facilities need to be improved. And once they are developed, that would also be very, very well for us to sit with that. Also really we see these tendencies of also these cases also being able to drop there. And that's also something I want to remind you of as we continue with the show, and that's also something at the end of the day we want to look out for. And she made the remarks on Friday during the Save the Mothers East Africa 2024 Maternal and Child Health Conference that is at Uganda Christian University in Mukono. However, challenges remain: delays in seeking medical care, that is due to lack of transportation, negative attitudes towards health facilities, and insufficient equipment that in some health facilities, which continue to also contribute the maternal deaths. And that's also something we want to also remind you of, because sometimes I do understand that some of the mothers do not want to go for antenatal care, and that's also where we are also registering these maternal deaths also as a result. And that's also something we want to say people must desist from. If you really do not desist from tendencies of not wanting to seek that maternal death, maybe maternity antenatal care, that is already a reason as to why you may lose your life, because sometimes the men do not want to accompany their wives, that is for maternal care, and that is only the negative part of it all. And I want to now encourage each and every man to always work with their women, and also work, that is also the lane, also of accompanying their women, that is to maternal care. That would be quite well. That would also maybe make them change their negative attitude, that is to some of the medical health facilities. And really, if the government also could be able to also beef up the medical facilities, that would be quite well. Maybe increasing the budget for them would also be a quite good one. And that would also sit with that we address tendencies of also mothers dying, that is in the medical facilities. And really that is also something I want to also call upon each and everyone, because really it is a painful thing for a mother to really die while giving birth. Because really at one time I did also see a friend losing, that is a sister, that is after failing to give birth. And this is something I must say was quite bad. It was quite sad, where really we did see also pain, seeing also where we saw the mother together with the baby dying there. And that's something I must say wasn't really quite well for us to witness, because this is really a mother, this is really a working lady, and this is somebody who was really a good one. And really that is also where we want to call upon government to really also support this, maybe these government facilities with also the necessary equipment and the necessary government officials, also maybe increasing numbers of doctors. And that's already the people who give birth, how do you call them? It's skipping off my mind. That is also something, the midwives, that would also be quite well, as that also we see to it that our health facilities also are developed well there. And we want to see an end that is also to the deaths, that's at the medical facilities, for instance, of mothers and the children, which is really a challenge that has been there. And Dr. Charles Olaro, that's the director of clinical service at Ministry of Health, highlighted the progress and made in that's both maternal and newborn mortality reduction, as saying that the cases have really dropped. And Dr. Olaro also pointed out that the increased number of deliveries taking place in the health facility, that is starting at 90%. Additionally, Ministry of Health has established local maternity and neonatal systems that improve reproductive and child health services, which are all their aim, that is to end, that is the mortality deaths also there. And despite the progress, preventable causes like obstetric hemorrhage, preeclampsia, sepsis, birth asphyxia, and also complications that's related to prematurity continue to claim mothers' lives each and every day. And that's also something we are talking about. And Dr. Laura, however, said the Ministry of Health remains committed to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which is also really to end also the child mortality deaths. And that's also really where we did see the SDGs also really very, very much also concentrated on. And Dr. Laura, however, said the Ministry of Health remains committed to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, where less than 70%, that's 100,000 also lives, that's by birth also ending, and also ending preventable new and child deaths under 5 years in there. And that's also really something we want to look forward to, and you too can also really share your opinions on how best we can end the child and mortality deaths also really by the year 2030, because if you look at that 2030, this is actually where the biggest period that's for the Sustainable Development Goals we are actually set, and we are not very far from 2030. That is also really a reason as to why you should be looking out maybe for the weaknesses, so that also really we address the gaps before 2030. And that brings us to the first commercial break of the show, and this is still a Kokoliriko live on Western Television. Stay tuned, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023, live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial breather, and we are back into our second half of the first hour, and that is a reason as to why you need to be part of the show, and that is really a reason as to why you must be watching Kokoliriko each and every morning. That is from Mondays to Fridays, right from this hour of 7 o'clock, that is 9 o'clock, and after 9 o'clock, that is when the news bulletin in Lubarati comes through. But before we get to give you that, remember we started the discussions with a lot of stories where we did talk to you about a story of an 80-year-old mother who was also really murdered by the daughters over a sale of land. We also did talk about a student who was shot dead while intervening to also really arrest robbers in there. That was in Soroti. We also did talk about guest journalists being commended as by police. That is for championing issues of sensitizing the community. We also really talked about several other stories. And now start off with our discussions in the second hour. House fails to realign trade tourism budgets. And that's really something that where we also want to start off with a discussion that in the second half of the first hour, where Parliament Committee on Trade has failed to realign activities, that is of trade and tourism ministries, that is fashioning a possible pain point in the consideration that's of the 2024-2025 budget estimates. And the meeting was convened that's on Thursday to rework also allocations in the budgets that's of the two ministries stalled after lawmakers were not furnished with the detailed breakdown on how the funds should be reallocated. And that's only something that we want to remind you of. And the say changes we are according to Junior Trade Minister, occasion that is by 2.7 trillion cut across also ministries and also agencies. Also that is something also we also want to talk about. And if you look at this, and that is already where all we have been talking about the issues of mergers, where also the budget cuts have been there, because if you look at our budget, definitely we are going to be seeing some of these agencies where it is very, very much important for them to be merged. And the meeting which took place on Thursday was to rework allocations that's also in the budgets, and two ministries stalled after really where we want to see the changes. We are calling to that is Junior Trade Minister, occasioned by that showing that 2.7 trillion cut across, that is all ministries, departments and agencies in the 2024-2025 budget estimates, where last month also really tabled that is before Parliament, and the monies will be slated as across the MDAs, and also really reportedly meant to, that's shown that is the government against that is souring that burden in there, because really if you look at maybe where these agencies cannot be merged, definitely they will also really continue to be funded. And where are we going to be seeing maybe the money to be funding these agencies come from? Definitely that is also really going to increase on the budget. That is a burden of paying these monies that will entirely go on the taxpayers. That is really a reason as to why we need to talk about the issues of excessive borrowing, because if you really look at where the issues of excessive borrowing is coming from, definitely you realize that it's also really sometimes coming back. That is from the issue of also really these agencies that are really very many, and that is really a reason as to why we need to ensure that also the agencies are maybe merged. And the request to realign budgets of the two ministries failed to make any headway after that's Mwine Mpaka, that the committee chairperson sent out that entities to furnish the committee with the detailed report on how the adjustments were meant to be made. And that's only something we also want to look out for. And at the end of the day, we also really want to see that maybe happening. And speaking Saturday, that also journalists in the aftermath of the failed meeting, Mr. Mpaka indicated that the instance that was of the committee to fetch a detailed statement on that's required adjustments was chiefly to minimize the possibilities of abuse of taxpayers' money. And that is only something we want to see maybe they also be able to be addressed, because we are talking about excessive borrowing, but we are not talking about maybe the causes of excessive borrowing. And one cause of the excessive borrowing we are talking about is actually the so many agencies and entities that we are created to work independently, but when doing the same thing. And that is only a reason as to why we need to see to it that government merges these agencies. And that is already coming, though it's coming with its own disadvantages, because we are going to be seeing so many people be thrown out. And that's only something maybe people are fearing, because if maybe all that be accommodated in one aspect, that would also really be well, and that would also maybe see people accepting the idea of merging these agencies. And the House Committee is required to implement the said changes and capture the same in its report. And the report will also be presented that's before the House Committee on Budget, and it is out of the committee reports that the Budget Committee will flesh out priority, that is areas to feed, that's to national final report that will also be tabled before a plenary sitting that is yet to be communicated, and that's already something we also want to remind you of, and we want to see to that also these at the end of the day also really attain what we are talking about. And really moving on from that, let's now look at what is happening elsewhere. Elders excited after surge, government lowers the age that is only for the new under the new fund, because really we have been able to see some of these elderly being thrown out because after failing to qualify, now we are seeing the age limit also being reduced there, and that is coming with a lot of excitement. That is some of the elders who had not hit the age, and that's already something we also want to remind you of, because people above the age of 80 were required to access this money, but below that we were not able to qualify for these funds. And all the persons are rejoicing after government lowered the age limit. That's for a senior assistant grant. That is also really for empowerment in their common abbreviated as such money through creation of a new fund in there. Persons aged 80 years above have been getting that shillings 25% per month, but significant changes have seen the age lower, that's 60 years, through another similar program. And in the financial year, that's 2022-2023, government provided that's shillings 5 billion, that's for special enterprise grant, that is for elders, also older persons, which is also abbreviated as SEGOP, where people aged above that's the age of 60 years to 79 years who are not beneficial of such program. The new grant will also be able to cater for them, and where we are looking at, that's the target of that is 1,896,190 people as government mobilizes that is resources to lower the surge, that eligibility that's for surge money in there. That's also something we also want to see, because this money helps this people. I also know a lot of people who are maybe beneficiaries of the surge money. My grandfather is a beneficiary, and really you realize that when this money comes, there's a lot of excitement because they use this money for taking care of themselves, maybe for buying the little things that they need. Because if you look at maybe somebody clocking that age, definitely they have a lot of desires, they have a lot of issues, they have a lot of problems, and that is already why government also need to come up with several of these activities, and that's why we commend the government of Uganda through also the funders of this money here, such that also we continue to see more of this, maybe these fundings also come maybe to Uganda, so that also these elders also can have smiles on their faces. And all the persons access, that is the SEGOP grant, in groups of 5 to 10 people, with each also said that is to receive that 5 million, which they can also channel into ventures like farming, poultry, and also trading, and like such, where the beneficiaries are paid monthly. We are going to be seeing them also getting that's the 5 billion. According to that's Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, this grant seeks to empower all the persons and enhance access. That's financial support for improved livelihood and well-being in there. That's something we also want to look forward to, and we shall be able to see to that. Maybe when this money is also be released, that we are here to inform the elders so that also they can take advantage of this money. And under SEGOP, 32 million was distributed. That's beneficiaries in 8 groups. That's from various sub-counties in Mayuge district and Malongo. Also, we did see Malongo, all the persons there, farming group, and Bikim group chairperson Muhammad also Kaseke said SEGOP is timely, and that's also something we also want to see to that. Maybe at the end of the day, the elders also get the monies so that they can also smile on their faces, and that's also something we want to see at the end of the day be implemented, because sometimes we talk about these nice programs, but when it comes to implementation, that is where the challenge is. And the 72-year-old man also said they had been missing government programs, yet they also pay taxes, and that's also something we also want to see at the end of the day also the championing there. And Nguda Tubulorke Walala, all the persons group members, that's member Defansi Muchiama, said they are going to invest the money in poultry and also the project, so that they can also be able to get some money for their basic needs, and that is also something why this money needs to come. That is to elders. And Moses Mugabe, another older person, said the money will help them also elevate poverty and improve their livelihoods as vulnerable members of the community. And speaking during the distribution next, that's a whole way primary school in Mayuge Town Council, Miss Harriet Achen, the community development officer that's in charge of all the persons with disability and elders, said the selected groups will also benefit, that also will not be able to be left out. Guidelines don't allow such beneficiaries to benefit from the SEGOP, and this is only where we are saying at least 6 to 79, because if you maybe clock 80 years, definitely you'll be able to that's qualify for the SEG money now. And Mayuge Resident District Commissioner Elijah Madoye expressed optimism and said that the grant could push that elderly into prosperity, and that's also something we also want to look forward for. And if you remember, in February 2024, some parliamentarians wanted SEGOP scrap, and the lawmakers also proposed combining its budget with SEG. According to Uganda law, all the persons, that's all older people are considered to be aged that's above 60, and Ugandans age between 60 to 70 years for majority of the Uganda's elderly, and that's also something we are seeing here on the past morning. And the number of older persons in Uganda has increased from 840,000 in 1991, with the official 2022 government also population projection indicating that that there were at least 1,661,100, which constitutes that's about 3.76%, and where persons aged of 60 years and above in Uganda. So the experts say the senior population has also been left out also in several development-oriented programs such as the Myoga Parish Development Model and Youth Livelihood Program and Operation Wealth Creation and others. Also, this is also where this point need to be catered for, and these are where experts are saying they have been left out, but rather also to bring them on board will be very, very much good for them in there. That's also something we want to talk about this early morning, but you also can share your opinion, because if you look at maybe these elderly who are really above the age of 60 to 79, and this is where they're going to benefit under SEGOP, where those who were actually required to be above 80 years and also really where they would not be able to get the surge money now can be able to also really now benefit from the SEGOP, and that's also something we also really want to look forward to, because we want to see the elders also really be able to also really enjoy and also really celebrate there, and that would also really be quite good for them to also really benefit, and that's also why we are praying if government can also really implement that, that would be well and good. And this really, that's also really something we want to remind you of. Maybe if you have elders, that maybe telling them to prepare their national IDs, because sometimes they are required to be with national IDs, they are required to be with the other documents. Let them start preparing the documents right now, so that also really when the time comes, they can be able to solely benefit from that SEGOP money there. And moving on from that, let's look at what is happening in Jinja now. Rising water levels of Lake Victoria have submerged markets, homes, and also roads, boreholes, and washing bays, among others. That's at Masese landing site in Jinja City, leaving at least 1,600 vendors and families stranded in there. And Area S1 chairperson Asad Magumba says the water levels have risen, resulting in the overflow that has affected that's about 1,600 people. And according to Magumba, most of this water comes from Lake Victoria and flows over roads and also towards the river. That's also something we are talking about, because recently we did see experts warning of rising water levels, and now we are already seeing also the water levels resulting also negatively impacting on also the people. And that's also where we also must talk to people about issues of climate change, because this is a clear manifestation of climate change. Let people ensure they plant trees, because if they don't plant trees, definitely we may also see them suffering, and maybe also we could be able to see the negative repercussions of what we are talking about today, because definitely issues of climate change continue to remain and also really affect the society, and that's also a reason as to why we must also ensure that we talk about climate change. And really, if we are to talk about climate change, then definitely issues of also this caliber cannot be also left out. And subsequently, the fears that pollutants which are washed into mainstream water may lead that into outbreak of diseases, which include among others cholera, also really, which is also already in there. And really, Magumba told journalists that they have also tried to inform the concerned authorities in vain without getting necessary support there. And that is also really where we expect now the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness also to rush out to these people and maybe also bail them out with food and other relief items. That would also really be quite good, because really this is a disaster. This is something that wasn't expected, though earlier calls were also really made that to inform the people of possible dangers. And now this is only where I want to call upon now the department, that's the Ministry of Disaster and the Ministry of Disaster and Preparedness under under OPM, to also really come out with clearly also maybe support also these families and these traders who have lost their properties in there, because we are talking about 1,600 people, and that could be more, because sometimes we are talking about the traders. What about those who have been working indirectly, for instance, maybe as loaders, because all these are beneficiaries of these facilities that have been affected, and that is only a reason as to why we need to ensure that they come maybe to their support, and that's also a reason as to why we want to see them be supported, and that would also be very much good one for them there. And Francis Magara, it would have said his business has been affected due to the current state of landing site, while fish stalls, shops, and other homes have been submerged by the water levels there. And he described currently working at Masese landing site hard, yet it is crucial for the most businesses, including that's fish, silver fish, and vegetables and hardware, among others, where the place has been known for. And Francisca Namatovu, another trader, says because of the market has been submerged by water level, her business has been paralyzed, and also she cannot be able to now sell fish and get out of that maybe that poverty. And that's also something that they are raising their concern, raising their voices on, and getting out around also the places is now becoming difficult. And a new projection that's by the Uganda National Meteorological Authority shows that first rain season, that's 2024, will have more rains than last year. And that's also we did see this call being made on. And UNMA seasonal rainfall outlook, that's from March to May 11th, also really forecast near normal, that's above normal rainfall across the country, which comes amidst growing also concerns over the impact of climate change on agricultural activities and livelihoods. And the forecast indicates that the areas such as highlands of southwestern Uganda, Rwenzori region, Mount Elgon, and other parts of Karamoja are expected to receive above normal rains. And that's really something we want to say. People need to be very much cautious. Let them be vigilant, and let them also start preparing of other possible dangers that may arise as a result of these water levels rising. And this is already coming up with tendencies of heavy rains, and that is already something we want to remind you of. Maybe in case you are living around the shores of these water bodies, you need to be careful, because we may also see lives be able to lost in that area there, and that is also something we are saying we need to pray towards. Other than that, we may also see more of these negative reactions happening, and really that is really where we also want to stop with our discussions there as we continue with the show. And remember, our final destination remains, that is 9 o'clock, but before 9 o'clock we still have lots more prepared for you here, and that is really a reason as to why you must be part of the Kokoliriko live show each and every morning, right from the hour of 7 o'clock until that is 9 o'clock in there. That's also something we also really want to talk about, because if we not really talk about that, definitely we may also leave something out, because we are here that is touched across the region and the nation at large, and that's always something we also do not want to leave you out, because you as a viewer, you are an important stakeholder, because for us to enlighten the region, definitely it calls for I and you. We have to work together, because as West Nile Television, our number one goal remains that is to enlighten the region, and we are not going to be doing that alone, because we also have to work together with you. We have to involve you, and remember, maybe on issues we are discussing here, that would also really help very, very much in enlightening the region. And really, you can also drop your comment in there and maybe tell us on what we are discussing, and really how best can we support maybe government in some of the activities maybe we have been able to talk about on the show, and really that would also be quite good. And moving on from that, Museveni hails former President Mwanga's wife at her funeral. This is also another story that we are seeing on the past this morning. President Museveni has hailed former Ugandan leader, that's Paulo Mwanga's wife, that is Kasalina Catherine Zawede, for her exemplary life and commitment that is also to her family and country, in addition to helping husband and during also the service. So that is something we did see of the President, His Excellency Dr. Museveni also commenting about the same matter there on Saturday. President Museveni noted that Zawede helped Mwanga to nurture children responsibly, holding the family that's also already together even after her death, that's in 1991, and also something we also talking about, and really want to also maybe also echo our voice on the same. And the President contributed shillings 10 million to assist the family in burial arrangements. Also, that is something also we did see the President already doing very, very much there as the head of state. And funeral service, that's main celebrant, that's Right Reverend Chitabula Chibuka, call for unity and also the collective efforts, that's for change in the spiritual and physical world, regardless of our political affiliation. And that's also something we did see happening on the past this morning. And he added that let us work as a family for betterment and development as a way as we move forward, and politics should not be able to split us. And Zawedi also died at the age of 92 years at Nakasero Hospital, where she had been hospitalized for some time. And her burial was attended by different dignitaries, including former Prime Minister, that's Chintu Musoke, Uganda Post Congress Party President Jimmy Akena, and Presidential Advisor, that's Amelia Chiambade, among others. And speaking on behalf of the deceased children, Dr. Susie Nanso Mwanga acknowledged that their mother's love, especially during the absence of their father, was really quite immense. And really that is also something that they would be able to miss their mother for. And she said, we promise to keep the legacy and live the exemplary life she showed us. And that's ours, children of that deceased. And that's also something that they also really promised to uphold. And Dr. Nanso commended that President 770 for loving their family despite their father being opposition. That's something we also talk about. And Mwanga married Zawedi, that's in 1948, but served as president, that's for just under a month, that's in May 1980. So really something we also have to talk about. And maybe, because really if we do not talk about this, and these are heroes, because for somebody to live maybe as head of state for 1 month, definitely I must say we also have to remember them for. And that is also something I will be able to solely maybe also appreciate, and also maybe honor the legacy that the deceased also could have left behind. But really that is also something that happened over the weekend, and really we also really pray for the soul of the deceased to rest in eternal peace. And that's also something we also have to talk about, maybe that. And moving on from that, maybe looking at the story somewhere, and relatedly, stop prioritizing politics over welfare, says Musa Sisi. And that's something we are seeing on the past this morning. And the State Minister for Finance, Mr. Henry Musa Sisi, has slashed that's the position that for spending time in politicking while other supporters are battling with economic hardships. And that's something we also have to talk about. As the Katonga group also, this is also something we did see happening right over the weekend, where Musa Sisi, who is also the MP for Rubanda East, made the remarks. That's while speaking at Chitonga Catholic Parish, that's in Ruchiga district, during the requiem mass, that's of the late Dr. Pius Ruhamara, the former Kabale municipality mayor, Ruhamara, who died that's on Wednesday at Rugamera Hospital, that's at the age of 76 years old. And that's also something we also have to remind people of, because people continue to talk about politics. As, sometimes we have seen people be able to be divided. That's on politics lines. That the requiem mass was well attended by FDC Katonga faction leaders, including Buweju County Member Parliament, that's Francis Muwejuche, Kabale Municipality MP, that's Nicholas Kamara, and for F Vice Chairperson, that's Proscovia Salam Musumba, who is the FDC Vice Chairperson there. And the Katonga group, as said, the late Romora also fought for peace and justice in the country. And in his speech, that's by read by Salam Musumba, FDC's President Kiza Besje, said for over 20 years, Dr. Romora had struggled to see change of government, while Mujuche also hailed Romora for fighting on until his demise. And also that's something also we want to remind you. However, Musa Sisi castigated the FDC leaders for taking the prevailing peace for granted. And also that's something also where we didn't see Musa Sisi also really echoing a concern on. And Musa Sisi asked the opposition leaders, especially MPs, for support, to get support that's for implementation of government programs whose intention is to also uplift socio-economic well-being of the Ugandans. Musa Sisi commended Romera's efforts for a number of developments, also already where we did see him also already lobbying for a number of projects he also implemented during the tenure as mayor of Kabale municipality, right from the year of 1996 to 2016, where he led as the mayor of that area. And this includes that's ongoing support, that's Uganda support to municipal infrastructure development, road construction projects, also to widen and tarmac, also Rushuzara Road, Bukusha, and also roads. And this is already some of the roads that are in western Uganda, where the late was also already able to also work tremendously to lobby for them. And Rumsora is survived by a daughter who is known as Jocelyn Rumsora, the only child he had, also with his wife, who passed on about 3 years ago. And he was laid to rest on Friday at his ancestral home, that is also in Kashurumuzo village in Chitunga Parish, that's in Kashambia sub-county in Ruchiga district. So that's also where we did see the late also be able to be buried from. And that's also something we also want to remind you of. And definitely we need to also avoid issues of also taking the laws into their hands. And that's only where we need to caution politicians above also to put service, not also to put politics above service. Also, that's also something we also want to talk about, because let them ensure that they put service first, that is above politics. And that's already how we can be able to realize maybe development, which we all want to see. And moving on from that, Chivumbi to grill government officials over Luboa. MPs are denied that state site visit again. And this is also something we are seeing on the past morning. And the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, that is for Central, Mr. Muwanga Chivumbi, has resolved to invite us and interrogate government officials and over the stalled construction works. That's on the International Specialized Hospital that is also located at Luboa along Entebbe Road. And that's also something we did see. I remember several initiatives and several efforts have been made by the MPs to reach out that facility. But in most cases, once we hear that the MPs are supposed to go there, there's always heavy deployment of the military, of the police. What's really happening? And maybe why is this facility not being able to be developed? And why is the works are not getting done? And that's already where we are also now echoing other voices on. And this was after second attempt, that's by committee to visit the construction failed on grounds that the site in charge financed that construction required more time to procure sufficient safety gear. That is for the inspecting team comprising of over 50 members to the site. And that's also something we also already seeing on the past morning. And that's for Ministry of Health, Finance to defer the said visit that was also meant to help up. And that's on Friday, April 26th. We are wired through the office of the clerk to Parliament and Speaker Anita Mong's office. And also that's something we also seeing on the past morning. And on Friday, Mr. Mwanga told journalists on Parliament that the committee is on mission that's look out for findings, that is of the Auditor General's report. In first interface, that's between committee and the Minister of Health. MP is also referenced, that is to privately held documents that's in Special Auditor's General report, that the payment of US dollars, that's 3% work done by also the site, also why we add other USD 76 million, which is about 286 million, was also paid in excess. That is causing a loss to the government. And this is also where we also want somebody to discuss. But the Minister of Health is therefore faulted for having issued milestone certificates premising that is premising on reports also fetched from the contractors, also engineers' side, on without also doing physical inspection there. And this is only a concern where sometimes only we say before this concern maybe these projects are being approved, let the officials come on ground also maybe investigate on and see what is happening, because we are talking about Luboa. Some of this government, maybe construction works could be stalling, but really who is responsible for that? Definitely that means that me and you have a role to play in terms of also really seeing that the works do not take beyond the normal. And that brings us to the first close of the first hour, and we shall be able to bounce back in our second hour with local stories, and that is also a reason as to why you must stay tuned as we bounce back shortly. My name is FARISH Majid. In case you're just joining us right now, you are most welcome aboard to the Kokoliriko live show, and our final destination remains at 9 o'clock. That is when Mukulia Lawrence will be coming through with the news bulletin in Lubarati. Stay tuned for now.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, well, welcome back from that short commercial breather. We are back into our second hour of the show, and this is actually our final hour. And later on, which will also really usher us into the news bulletin Liberty with Feta Emmanuel, who is already here, and he is also already preparing to give you what is happening in the world of news. But before we give them the chance, we also have to give you what is happening first in West Nile sub-region, and that is a reason as to why you must also really be part of the show. And remember, Arua City, which continues to also really grapple with challenges of that is garbage, is now set to have a new law which is actually under review right now, and where we all stakeholders are being consulted on the gaps also on the draft of the law, and which ordinance is going to address challenges that is of poor garbage disposal, where also those who are supposed to collect garbages are also going to also be looked out in this law under which is also under review. And definitely that means that if at all you are going to be dumping garbage anyhowly, you can be arrested, and that's a reason as to why maybe people who work in factories also will be required to sort that garbage that's right from the source. And maybe if the garbage is disposable and non-decomposable, definitely they will be able to be sorted. That is also really right from the source, because sometimes we don't understand that maybe garbage which remains unsorted, sometimes once they're taken to the facilities there, people do not also sort them out. And this is also really where maybe at the points people only look out for the plastics, and also maybe the scraps and metallic objects, they not also look out for those other decomposing objects. And that's really where this law is also going to look out for maybe those people who have been maybe dumping garbage anyhowly, because sometimes it also come to our notice, because people live in the city centers sometimes really look out for these places and dump the garbage anyhowly. And that's really where the law is going to catch up with them, because if you will be apprehended, and remember, anybody is actually going to be able to solely observe and follow the law, and that's solely where we are going to be also arresting. And remember, the city court is also up, and definitely we are also going to be having the city court, because if you are arrested, definitely you can be able to be charged. That is in the course of law. And that, remember, the amounts are not less than 40,000 for different crimes. And recently we did see also the city legal officer also taking out people on the same law, which is going to be developed. And that is also the reason as to why I must remind you, we need to be very much cautious and very, very much vigilant, where also if we're going to be talking about issues of garbage dumping, definitely that would also maybe be able to catch up with us. And that is also a reason as to why we need to do some tendencies of that caliber. And that's already something at the end of the day, definitely before it catches up with you, definitely we need to start adjusting and also really making also that we change right now. Because if you really look at what is happening in our centers, sometimes you see somebody is moving in a car, dumps garbage, and yet we're going to compare ourselves to other cities. For instance, Gulu, we going to also compare our city, that's a raw city, to Mbale. We're going to compare raw city to also really Fort Portal, and these are clean cities. And who makes the city clean? It is the people. And yet our people here are dumping the garbage. Now you see somebody in the car, but after drinking the water, dumps the bottle outside. And this is already something that we are talking about, that people need to also have mindset change. And also that is also already something at the end of the day that is going to have negative repercussions on them. And really that is so something that also really we must also look out for too, and also be very much cautious and vigilant for. Other than that, we also may see ourselves being caught up by the law. And moving on from that, also the newly appointed assistant resident city commissioners at Arua City have also already started work, and they cannot wait anymore, and they have also already started doing the works for which they got appointed for. And this is none other than Job Richard Batua, who was appointed as assistant resident city commissioner in charge of Central Division, who also already started going to schools, and that's to check on the progress of patriotism, and together with his also colleague, that's 5 divisions on home poly, and the two cannot also really wait for anymore, and that's to see to that they maybe wait anymore. That is for changes also really in relation to that is also really the patriotism bit of it, because they have been visiting schools, and on Friday we did see them going to a number of schools, among which including Varasilia Secondary School and Arabic, and some of the schools that we also really did see them going to. And let's check out the progress on patriotism. That is also really to see to that also for the job for which they got appointed for is very, very much well done. The government of Uganda is of the view that if people are also told about patriotism, definitely if they love their countries, they will also not be able to engage in bad activities. For instance, also corruption, which is already there as a vice that is eating up the society, and that is already where patriotism is very, very much paramount and very, very much important for these concerns to be addressed. And now let's first see how they did go, and really how their meeting in some of the schools also did go on with the head teachers. And the schools are doing exams, and they were not able to also distribute that. Also they talk to the students, but they were able to talk to the head teachers, where we did see them handing some of the documents that is containing patriotism information also to some of the schools. Let's first look at what happened as we bounce back shortly.
Recently, the Office of the President appointed over 300 individuals as assistant resident district and city commissioners
in various local governments to help in support doing government work, where Arua City received 2 officials charged with mainly 3 duties, which among others include to fight corruption, promote patriotism, and carry out mobilization of the people to support government programs. The group has already commenced with visiting a few schools in Arua City to spread the patriotism gospel. Among those who got appointed, Amatua Job Richard, who has been appointed to assist the Central Division, and Ongom Poli to work with Ivo Division. To begin fulfilling the core values for which they got appointed, the 2 leaders posted to Arua City on the 25th of April 2024 visited a number of schools within Arua City, where they were received by the head teachers to check on the progress of patriotism. Matua Job Richard, the Assistant Resident City Commissioner for Central Division, who paid a courtesy visit to our public secondary school, says his appointment to Arua City gives him a chance to return home, where he diligently intends to serve his own people.
So I am here to do more than state work. I am here as a son of soil. I am here as somebody of your own who is so annoyed, who is deeply worried that if he doesn't correct his own place, then his children will be the victim.
Matua says for the goals to be achieved, there is need for all the stakeholders to work together irrespective of the differences.
One of the government programs which must be effectively supported is education. Education is a colorless. It is not yellow, it is not green, it is not red, it is not any political color. That's why I had even mobilized the politicians, NUP, FUDC, NRM to come with me. You can see they have delayed to come. We have to work with everybody. My role is to act as a reactive nuclear, as a magnet, to collect all of our people, nucleate them, then infect them with positivity. Together with them, we go to change our own society.
Ongom Poli, the Assistant Resident City Commissioner for Ivo Division, says they are going to schools is to popularize patriotism as a strategy to curbing the bad vices such as corruption.
We must love ourselves. Why? You cannot cause damage or destroy or hurt what you love. So when you love your country, you will be able not even to cause any damage to it in terms of maybe stealing money, you know. So we are in this exercise trying to popularize it. We are trying to expand it wider to all secondary school and other institutions. It has become a new strategy actually to fight corruption.
Some of the teachers whose schools were visited by the newly appointed RCCs say they are already implementing the government goals.
Yes, and here we always notify the RCC. When we are doing the training, then we get manpower for training from the forces, the EPDF. So they are the ones who trained them and also gave some lectures. So that one was a bit successful. Then, as I said, if it is the issue to support government programs, for us we are USE, and actually Republic will fully implement USE and the OPLET. And that's why our numbers are very big. Actually, it is space which is limiting us.
So we have a program now for training Senior 1, Senior 5, first week of second term, which we shall do from 4 p.m. to 6 every day for 1 week. And then we commission them. So that's now what we are going to do. Because
training Senior
1 and 5 on patriotism.
It's called mindset orientation.
Yeah.
Fred Busulwa Colonel, the liaison officer at National Secretary for Patriotism Corps of Uganda and Office of the President upon the 2 of the schools in Arua City, says that it is intended to promote patriotism so as to curb corruption right from the grassroots level.
Corruption has become a discipline within our country, and the biggest way we can curb it is coming to the young generation, teach them, train them to love their country and to be well-disciplined children. When they are well-disciplined, they can grow up hating the other vices, corruption inclusive. So that's the reason why we are going to all schools across the nation, trying to train and teach them about patriotism. We are telling them that being patriotic is loving your country, is loving your neighbor, is conserving the environment. If our students can be friendly to the environment, if they are godly, they know how to manage their time, and they are hard-working students. So by the time they grow up, they will be responsible citizens who will be corruption-free.
In preparations for their new roles, the appointees are to understand of the newly appointed resident city commissioners who have been appointed as assistants. And remember, over 360 individuals got appointed across the country as assistant resident city commissioners that is serve in the various local governments. And this is already where we did see Arua City receiving the two who have been also really very, very much starting work, and they cannot wait anyone. Well, these are yet to undergo induction. That is at Chiang Kwanzi, also for them to also take up the offices officially. But these two cannot wait anyone. We have seen them also championing the issue about patriotism, because patriotism is actually the love for one's country, and definitely government of Uganda is of the view that if at all you love your country, then definitely you may not maybe be able to also really engage in cases of corruption. And that's also really a reason as to why government of Uganda is coming up with the initiative that is to also really make sure that people love their country. And at the end of the day, we also really want to see people also really maybe talking about this issue about patriotism that would also be quite well, and that's also a reason as to why we want to see to that also these tendencies of patriotism also really are addressed. Because as a viewer, maybe as a Ugandan, first of all, you must love your country, because if you not love your country, then definitely that is where we are going to be seeing you put your selfish interest first, rather than maybe the interests of the country. And that's already where corruption also already becomes very, very much paramount. And that is already why the leaders are now moving into schools and also to spread the gospel that is about patriotism. And moving on from that, now let's look at other stories happening elsewhere within the city, where we did see also already the launch of also already cleaning city. And really this is also really in a drive that is by bikers session, and that's something we want to see, where the environmental cleanup exercise is already up. And that's already why we did see Uganda Bikers Association in collaboration with the Arua City Authority, also School Pay and Bizarre Media launched this, that is the cleanup campaign, also at the Mayor's Garden in Arua City on Saturday 27th of April 2024. That is to promote that responsible waste management and environment protection. And that's also something we are talking about, because today we want to talk about Arua City being one of the dirtiest cities, and really who is to make it clean? Definitely it is me and you. We also have to join hands. Other than that, that would also be quite well. Let's first see maybe what happened and how they intend to go on with the exercise of maintaining cleanness and the clean environment that's in the city. That would also be quite well for us to also see to that also we live in a clean city that is also livable for us all.
The Uganda Bikers Association, in collaboration with the Arua City Authority, School Pay and Biz Africa Media, launched an environmental cleanup campaign at Mayor's Garden in Arua City on Saturday, the 27th of April 2024, to promote responsible waste management and environmental protection. The launch started with a drive throughout the streets of Arua City, followed by the cleanup exercise. Frank Othembi, the president of Uganda Bikers Association, stated that this cleanup campaign is meant to mobilize stakeholders to maintain the sanitation and waste management in the city.
Our sanitation and cleaning up of our cities, and our task is not to keep doing this every day. We cannot come to Arua every week. Our task is to open the doors, set the example, and plant the seed. Sustainability is now up to you to continue from where we have left. We are very honored to have the technocrats and the politicians from the district and the members of the business community. We are very happy to have you supporting this exercise.
Charles Ichogor, the Arua City Resident City Commissioner, thanked the Uganda Bikers Association and the business community for the cleanup campaign initiative brought to the city.
Uganda Bikers Association, I must say that one, you are most welcome to Arua City. We don't take this for granted. What we are going to do, what I'm going to launch now, as you put it correctly, must be a continuous process. We are going to lay the foundation, and my team, I'm happy, the focal point person is here. We must make Arua City the cleanest city, not only in Uganda, but south of the Sahara. By cleaning it continuously, sanitation is very key. It helps us to pick out some diseases. 75% of the diseases that attack our citizens can be prevented. And this is one of the ways we are going to do it to make sure that the city is very clean. I would like to thank the business community for joining this crusade such that we clean our city, such that Arua city becomes a model city in this country. I would like to thank the partnership between Arua Council, Arua City Council, and Uganda Bikers Association. I would like to take this singular honor now to launch the exercise so that we kick off. I say this for God and my country.
The City Environment Cleanup Campaign goal is to mobilize cities, businesses, schools, communities, and individuals to actively participate in the cleanup and the restoration of the local ecosystems. This campaign will be covering the 10 cities of Uganda. Okomiringa Christine, for West Nile Television, Nowcast.
All right, that is as far as the issue of cleanup environment is concerned, because it is our responsibility as all citizens of the country to maintain and make a city clean. And that is really why, as YPO Arua City, we must also really join hands to see that we maintain and make the city livable, because if at all we are not going to be maybe doing it voluntarily, we are going to be also really facing the wrath, that is of the Solid and Waste Management Bill, and the ordinance that is yet to be passed, that's by Arua City Council, which will also really be very, very much difficult for us. And that is also really a reason as to why we must start practicing before the law is actually passed out, because if at all the ordinance is passed out, definitely maybe we may also be caught up by the stiff punishments, and that is also really in the law there, because we want to see a city that is clean. Because if you really remember what happened during time when Arua City was, when Arua municipality then was actually announced as one of the cleanest municipalities in the city, in the entire Africa region, we were also really very, very much proud about that. But really, today we are living in a city which is really very, very much dirty. What happened? What really went wrong? And these are the questions we must also really ask ourselves, because at one time, way back, we are talking about Arua municipality being one of the cleanest municipalities, and today we are talking about Arua City being very, very dirty. And really, what transpired? What went wrong? And that is also really something we also have to ask ourselves of, and that is really why the waste management ordinance is very, very much needed. And really, we want to see to that also it is passed quickly, because the city also, the authorities and the legal officers of the city has taken its mandate of also really making sure that this law is developed. And that is also something I want to remind you of. At the end of the day, we want to see it being also being developed in there. Now let's move away from that. Now let's look at some of the stories where stakeholders had over that Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road project, and this is also something we also talking about. And this is something we also want to remind you of. And during the official presentation and the introduction of the contractors, that is for the construction of the Koboko to Yumbe connecting to Moyo Road project, that's at Moyo Post Hall. It was revealed that the construction project is progressing well, and maybe this is also really something where people have been able to air out their concerns. People have often complained about this road, and now this is where the development of the road is actually being undertaken, where the contractors and also the other projects also really have also been informed that the development of the project is moving on well, because we want to see a road that is well, because if you look at that road sincerely has been in a dilapidated state, and that also really in one way or the other hampered the trade. And also really because if you look at that road indirectly connects that to southern Sudan, and that's also really where also if the development of this road is well developed, and definitely we may also see, instead of using the long routes, they may also resort to using this road also to connect to South Sudan in there. And that's also something we also want to see to that. It is well developed in there. Let's first connect to see what happened during that meeting. That would also maybe paint for us an image of how the road is being developed.
The official presentation and introduction of the contractor for the Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road project brought in several stakeholders to familiarize with the contractors and the consultants and seek clarification about the road project so as to forge a way forward. Mr. Gore Goffin, the resident district commissioner Moyo, said the people in the region deserve the road project, saying it's not a favor, but it's because of the cooperation and the hospitality the people within the region extended to host refugees. He therefore implored the public to own the project as their own and ensure that the infrastructures within the region improves, and assure the contractor of good security as they take on with the project.
Deserve this road project. It's not a favor, it is because of your cooperation, your hospitality, you have extended to host refugees. So this, you deserve this project. Please clap for yourselves. But we should take advantage of it as a country to improve our infrastructure. So I want you to embrace this project as your own project,
because of the work you have done in hosting refugees.
Honorable Aleruto Maza, the Member of Parliament West Moyo County, said time is money and therefore urged the contractor to ensure the project gets completed within the stipulated time frame and implore the contractor to be honest, transparent, accountable and ensure there is peaceful coexistence with the community living along the road.
When the road is bad, we waste a lot of time on this road here moving. Perishable goods get spoiled. Tempus est pecunia, time is money. So really, the project has come timely. Marketing, we have a brand new market here. We need our produce also to come to this market. We need to take produce from this market to other places.
Honorable Fungaro Caps Hassan, the former Member of Parliament Obongi County who doubles as the Vice President Forum for Democratic Change in the Northern Region, welcomed the project, saying they had a gentleman's memorandum of understanding that during the tarmacking of the Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road, there will be some percentage allocated for tarmacking the road stretching from Kolokolo to Palorinya Base Camp so as to link the refugees and the host communities in the area. He, however, said, let the road project begin, but the people within the region will still go back to the World Bank and the government so as to address their concerns.
Our memorandum of understanding, which we had, our gentleman's agreement involving the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Wakana Urugunda, and General Moses Ali, all of them are still alive here. That there will be an annex beginning from Kolokolo, you see that corner there, Oyajo Junction, coming to where the refugees are, the refugees of Palorinya refugee settlement. The definition of that road still remains as a Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road.
Honorable Anyama Williams, the Chairman Local Council 5 Moyo, said it's a long-awaited development which is made possible by the grace of God and the good leadership of the country. He, however, said now his prayer is the construction of Laropi Bridge and the Laropi Afoji Jale Road so as to have a complete network and link the district to the capital of South Sudan.
This has been a long-awaited development. We also pray in a similar way the Laropi Bridge and the Laropi South Sudan border road networks will equally be accomplished to make a complete circle of improved road network that will boost and promote regional trade.
Mrs. Onger Tojeska, the Chief Administrative Officer Moyo, pledged their total support to the project and urged the contractors to always work together with the district authorities, saying most times contractors come to the district leaders during the start of the project and disappear and then come back when the project is ending, saying this habit needs to stop.
We are ready to support the process, but there are some things that we would request of you when you start to work. Please cooperate with us. And when we say cooperate with us, we are meaning that move with us. You know, normally you come to us and again we see you when you leave. I think that will not be fair.
Engineer Tim Alex, the project manager Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road project, said the area of compliancy, the contractor has no escape route, saying the contractor knows the quality of work expected out of him as it's clearly stipulated in the project, and adds that in the area of employment, they have resolved to give a percentage of 60% for the local community.
The contractor has no escape route because the contract he has signed tells him what kind of specifications and what he has to do. So he is going to follow it, and the consultant is here to see that he follows.
The Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road measures 103 kilometers, is set to be upgraded to tarmac after the government securing funds from the World Bank. The project, which should have started last year, had some irregularities in the procurement process, but now has...
All right, welcome back from that short commercial breather with that meeting and that story. And that's also really as far as that issue of the development of that road project is concerned. And that is also really something at the end of the day we want to see maybe it also really being finalized, because we want to see this road project being finalized, but is within the stipulated period of time, because sometimes we see the contractors also really asking for maybe for 2 years, but in the long run, we see the projects also really going up to 4 years. And also really where we have also seen them sometimes coming back and say the money that they did ask for is not enough. and this is already something that also we need to see with the same project. And this is also something at the end of the day, if at all it is clearly maybe implemented, that we would see the construction works being maybe also be finished that within the grace period. And this is also, something also at the end of the day that would be quite well for the people of Western Sub-Region, because whether we like it or not, all the local governments within Western Sub-Region, both indirectly or directly, will also really have to benefit that's from the road project if at all it is clearly developed. And that's also something I want to say, let the project work also be fully implemented within, maybe without wasting time, so that also really the development works can also really smoothly go in on there. That's also something I also want to echo out my voice on, and I want to remind the people of Western Sub-Region, and that road is also going to both directly and indirectly also really affect each and everybody in there. And now let's move away from that. Let's see what is happening in Navy District, where the business community has been engaged that on development also plan, their physical development plan. That is only something we are talking about, because if you really look at what is happening and what we discuss about the physical development plan, definitely each and every development that is supposed to be implemented must be in line. That is the physical development committee plan. That's sort of something before maybe you build, definitely you first of all seek approval. That's for the physical development plan committee, and then definitely the physical, also the building committee will also now be able to solely permit what kind of development you are supposed to be putting out or for. And that's solely something that we also have to ensure that, because if we really talk about the negative repercussions of what is happening today, definitely sometimes in Kampala we have been talking about flooding, which has already been a result of that is failure to also abide by that's the physical planning also plans. That's why the physical planners today also have to work together in terms of ensuring sustainable development. And that is also really where the business community was recently also really engaged on a one-day training on the urban physical development plan organized by the Ministry of Lands, Urban Development, and also really held in Nebi municipality. That's boardroom. That's on the 26th of April 2024. Business operators and Nebi this municipality we also really warned against non-licensed structures, buildings also really by the municipal physical planners, as this may cause havoc to the people. And this is also really what is happening in Nebi. Maybe if we can be able to really see how and what transpired in that meeting, that would be well and good for us.
Business operators in every municipality have been warned against non-licensed structures or buildings by the municipal physical planners, as this may cause havoc to the people. During one-day training on urban physical planning organized by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development held in a municipality boardroom on 26 April 2024, Kado Daniel Mukwanga, a physical planner in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, says the law enforcement team is charged with actual implementation of the plans on the grounds. He added that before someone plans to have a building on land, he or she should come and consult municipal council, though lands belong to the people in the Article 237 of the Constitution of Uganda, but how to use it should be regulated by the state.
The law enforcement, because they are charged with the actual implementation of the plans on the ground. So ideally, yes, members, we've had a very cordial meeting, and yes, we've been able to take them through the function of physical planning. But what I can tell people is one or two things. One is that before you do anything on land, come and consult with the municipal council. Yes, land belongs to the people. That is by law, Article 237. But how they are supposed to use it, supposed to be regulated by the state. So it's not just that land belongs to you, but when it comes to using it, it is supposed to be regulated by the state. So ladies and gentlemen, it is key. The meeting has been cordial, and I believe that the members who have been in the meeting, wherever they stand out to speak, the political technical, they should drive the message for physical planning down to the community, so that our people are aware that there is this monster physical planning.
However, Honorable Kokoliriko Geoffrey, Mayor Nebi Municipality, confirmed that Nebi Municipality for long has been facing challenges of people constructing houses in the municipality without approved building plan by the municipal authority. He says the training has come timely to educate business fraternity to know the outcomes of having unapproved structures. Kokoliriko added that municipal authority has been pounding materials of those that were not abiding by the law.
Cases where we get
people who are constructing without our information. And most of them some have been warned, some their materials have been collected and placed in our stores, and we have been doing these things very, very well all the time to our communities. But now we want to thank that the right time has now come. We have invited around 45 people who were actually given very good information by the ministry, which I think will change the habit of our people when they want to build. Because when you want to build, first of all, please, when you want to buy the land, come from the municipality and find out, so that you buy the right place for the right building.
In the meantime, Opeo Jatex, chairperson Nebi Market Vendors Association, assured the municipality authority that with the knowledge acquired in the training, they will only have approved buildings in the municipality. Opeo applauded the President of Uganda for considering Nebi municipality as far as development is concerned, but urged the government to expedite the process to construct the modern market like in other municipalities.
Thanking His Excellency the President of Uganda for considering the municipality in this wonderful state of the art infrastructure as the new main market for us, the people of Nebi municipality and the vendors. This project has been established in a number of urban areas in the earlier phases, although with some making news over the media for some wrong reasons. However, I want to assure you, the government of Uganda and the Ministry of Local Government that the people of Nebi municipality is ready for any program as long as it is developmental.
This was the second training by the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development.
Well, that is what is happening in there. Now let's look at what is happening at the neighboring district, that's Pakwach district, where the chairperson, that's Robert Omitostin, has warned youth in the district against laziness and idleness as the rainy seasons also returns. And this comes after the Pakwach district registered that's 124 theft cases and house breakings, especially among the youth who are said to be drug addicted. That's for the last 2 months in there. And also this is something also as well I want to echo out my voice on, because we are seeing the rains returning, but we still continue to see the youth lingering and idle also in the trading centers. What does that mean? Definitely that is also really a clear indication of laziness in the areas in there. And that's something I want to remind you of. We must also desist from, and that would also really may be able to also really help us if we are to move away from poverty. And let's first listen to what the district chairperson Robert Omitostin is saying. Well, as we continue with that story, and definitely I must remind you, so many things are happening, and really if you look at what is happening today, you will realize that sometimes youths are really said to be people who are vulnerable to what we are seeing today. Because if you look at the theft, and if you really witness what we are seeing with theft cases, for instance, in the central division that's of Arua City, most of the people have been killed at the youth, and these are people aged just above, sometimes 18, and that is also really to the age of what we term as the youth. And definitely this is because sometimes they feel they cannot be able to work and maybe do the casual labor work, which is said to be difficult for them, but rather they opt that is also for theft. And really let's first now get the video of what the horse's mouth is saying. That is also Robert Omitostin in relation to what we are talking about here, laziness among the youths.
The Pakwach District Chairperson Honorable Omito Robert Steen has warned youths in the district against laziness and idleness as rainy season starts. He was speaking to journalists on 25th April 2024 at his office located in Kapita, Pakwach District. According to Honorable Omito, idle and lazy youths are at risk of being arrested by the security team under his supervision as crime rates are on the increase. He therefore hit back to arrest anyone found at drinking points, sitting along the roadside, doing nothing during morning hours.
The rain came back late. Ideally, by now, so many crops should have sprouted and be reaching a certain level that can now give hope. But surprisingly, I still drive along the road and I find some team of young people who are highly energetic, hanging just along the road that very early. Today, as I got up very early between 6 to 7, when I passed by some petrol station called Pine to fuel and drive to the garden before getting back to office, so that I plant in some cassava for commercial purpose. I realized there were really a lot of youth by earlier 7 along the road. I was like, it's good I found you eating anyoya. I hope it is giving you energy, energizing you to go to the garden. Some told me, yeah, but for us, we are border, you can see our machines. I said, that's very good. However, during rainy season like this, let's first go to the garden with dig.
Ometo also condemned the ideas of some people that government should provide everything for them, but rather work hard in businesses, farming, among others, noting that in the process, this will fight against unemployment and crimes, respectively.
The idea of saying government should give it completely free would not be a good one, because very many free things that government gave have been just messed up. After all, somebody doesn't feel any pinch. So that's why we lobbied successfully. Government brought these micro irrigation scheme programs where you make some contribution like 3 million and they put for you something worth 15 million. If you pay like maybe 6 million, they put for you something worth like 25 million.
He urged the youths not to fear, rather be strong during this rainy season and be confident in case of any challenges in life. Pakwach district, for 2 last months, registered 124 cases of theft, house breakings, especially among youths who are drug addicted. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nilecast.
Welcome back to our story now to summarize the discussions of today with what is happening in the world of sports. As usual, we did see a number of games going on. That's right, from the regional league up to also what we did see in the international levels. And really to begin with what we saw over the weekend, we did see the Black Angels being crowned champions of the regional league. But really we did see also a number of games being played over the weekend where we did see Alpha Rising Stars also really edging, that is Pakwach Young Stars, by 7 goals to 2. We did see the Black Angels, the winners, also drawing, that with Pakwach Soccer Club also in there, where we did see we did see Padea Rising Stars also really drawing with Nebi Central 0-0. Ajuman Town Council also lost to Araka Football Club. That is also really said to be another team that is proving to be difficult, and really where we could also see them also really playing. That's also at the playoffs, also really edging out. That is Ajuman Town Council by 3 goals to 2 in there. Total also did go on to beat Coach Urban by 2 goals to 1, where we did see also Kuluva Rainbow drawing with Arua City Football Club by 0-0 there, and that is something we did see over the weekend. And really in what we did also see in the big league, we did see also really a number of games also going on. But before we get to give you that, we also did see also really in the Stambik Uganda Cup, where we did see a drop that is between Neck Football Club and Bull Football Club, and that the game ended, that is 1-1 there, and that is in the first leg of that's the Stambik Uganda Cup. And really, if I can now be able to remind you of some of the games that did go on the Startimes Uganda Premier League, we did see Blacks Power also beating that's Police goal, that is by 1-0. We did see also Kataka, that's also really playing out 1-1 draw, that is with Karo Karunji, and Chige's Homeboys also did go on, that's to beat, that is Ginger North by 3 goals to 0, as Chetume also was able to thrash, that is Boma by 4 goals to 1. On Dupraka Football Club also really managed to pick, that is a crucial win, that is over Lugazi in there. The game ended 1-0, as well as Mbale Heroes was also really able to beat, that's Medical Calvary by 2 goals to 1. That's already in some of the games that we did see over the weekend, and this also really made the stable standings remain as Police remains on top of the log. That is also really also ahead of Kataka, who comes in the 2nd place, and Lugazi comes in the 3rd place. And this is already maybe in some of the games that did go on over the weekend, if I can be able to remind you of. And really we also did see enough games going on in the English Premier League. That is right over the weekend. We did see Liverpool also really playing out, that is 2-2 with West Ham United, as Fulham was able to also really play another draw, that's with Crystal Palace. Manchester United was also really able to draw, that's 1-1 with Burnley, as Newcastle was able to beat Sheffield United by 5 goals to 1. Wolves was also able to lose, that is to Luton Town by 2 goals. Wolves was able to beat Luton Town, by 2 goals to 1, as Everton was able to pick another crucial win for them over Brentford in there, and Aston Villa was also able to draw, that is 2-2 with Chelsea in there. And these are some of the games that did go on. And really, before I forget, in the important also really very very much important game that is in the title race in there. We did see Bournemouth beating Brighton by 3-0, as Arsenal was also able to beat, that is Tottenham, yesterday by 3-2. Nottingham Forest was also able to lose, that is the game into, that is the Manchester City in there, and that also really makes Arsenal still remain on top of the log. That Manchester City still remain with another game, and really we shall be able to really keep you updated with what is happening in there. And remember, all these games will also really be able to be told to you. That is by Linda Susie together with Owen Zaga. That is from the hour of 2 to 3 p.m. in the Western time, and that's also really why you must be able to also really join the team, because on Mondays really they usually have a lot more to discuss with you, because they compile the results right from Saturday, because they are here from Mondays to Saturdays, and that is really a reason as to why you must wait for them, because the team is well set and they will be here to give you that also really the detailed analysis, and maybe where the teams are wrong, maybe that could have led them to also losing the games in there, and that is a reason as to why you must be part of the Kokoliriko live show, because we touch each and every sector of life, and we cannot also really exclude sports, because work without play, usually we say, makes Jack a dull boy. And that summarizes our discussions for today. And up next is the news bulletin in that's Lubarati with Feta Emmanuel, who is already here. Stay tuned, and we shall be able to bounce back tomorrow for the same time, for the same show, that is Kokoliriko live, that's on Western Television. Up next is the news bulletin, and from me to you, have yourselves a goodbye and a good week as well.